Hello and welcome to this edition of Motivational Maps Live. I'm Mike Terra from the Reluctant Leader Academy, and this is the third time lucky for this live show. So hopefully we won't get any more glitches in the system. So today we're going to be talking about how motivational maps can improve the appraisal system process. So we're going to first of all look at what the appraisal is about, the problems that are generally come across that prevent the appraisal process being effective, and then show you how motivational maps can fit into that process to make it essentially a win-win for the organization and the individual, because I see that as the biggest problem. So let's crack on, because we're already a bit behind time. So the first thing that we need to ask ourselves is why do we need them? Why do we need appraisals? Well, there are three or four main reasons, I believe. Firstly, it's essential for performance management. So we need to be able to check in with how things are going. So essentially, appraisals are for that purpose. Next thing is we need to check in with that progress and check how we are doing with regards to our goals and the objectives that we've set. We then need to think about the key results that we're looking for in line with those objectives. But essentially what we've got to remember is it's all about improving employee performance. That's essentially what we want to achieve, and that's the only reason why we would have an appraisal. So we need to make the appraisal as effective as possible. So what do we need to perform well? There are essentially three things that we need to perform well at work. Firstly, we need to know what the clear goals and objectives are. So we need to know what we're working towards. Otherwise, if they're a bit woolly and they're not clear, then it's not really going to be very effective. So it's very important to have some clear goals and objectives. Secondly, we have to have a say in the objectives and the way that things are achieved. So as an individual, we want to be part of that process rather than just being told this is how it's going to be done. We want to get involved with the actual process of what we need to do, how we're going to do it, and why. So it's clear that we want to be involved in that process, not just be told. And the third thing we need is we need to get plenty of feedback, not just at the appraisal stage, but throughout the process. The more feedback we get, the better, so that we know how we're doing and how we're progressing. So that's the three things that we need to perform well. What are the potential problems that we come across on a regular basis? Well, the first thing is that the three things we've just mentioned are not performed well. So the things we need to perform well are not performed well. So that's key to this, understanding those three things that we need to get right. Next, we need to know how to do it. So a key problem with that, we don't know how to conduct a good, effective appraisal process because we've never been shown how, and there's too many question marks around how best to do it. So hopefully after this, you'll have a better idea of how you can have a better process that is focused and will be effective for both appraiser and appraisee. And then thirdly, the ability to be a good appraiser is essential. So we need to practice that, and we need to learn how to do it well. So again, hopefully this little session will help you do that. So what are those essential skills that we need to be a good appraiser? So again, there's three that I see. You've got to go at it with a mindset of I'm okay, you're okay. If you go at it with something less than that, so in other words, I'm not okay, you're okay, or any combination of anything that's not I'm okay, you're okay, then essentially you're going into it with the wrong attitude and frame of mind. So you have to have positive regard for yourself and positive regard for the other person. to make sure that you are treating them just as a human being on an adult basis. So that's essentially the first skill we got to make sure that we have in our toolkit. Secondly, we need to develop good communication skills, and essentially we need to be good listeners, and we also need to be effective at asking the right questions, because essentially that's what we need to do. Rather than tell, we need to ask questions in the process, so that the appraisee has a say in the process. And then the third thing is to be natural and think win-win. So when you have a process that you follow and you believe in it, you can follow that process and feel that you are relaxed, and it's a process that is natural and it's something that you want to do, and so does the appraisee, I should say. And always remembering that we need to make it a win-win for both parties. So those are the essential skills that we need to work towards. So how can motivational maps help? So motivational maps can help us focus on the needs of the appraisee. I think that's often missed out with regards to the appraisal process. If we are going into it with the mindset, or the objective is to improve the performance of the individual, then we've got to think about, well, what do they need? And the motivational map will give you a clear idea of what drives that person, so we can make sure that we are addressing that at the same time as addressing the objectives and the key results that the business needs. Next one is we can link goals and objectives to the motivators of the individual, so they can make sure that they can see how the things that really drive them can actually allow them to perform better by linking those things to the objectives of the business or the team or whatever you're linking that to. So that's another reason why motivational maps will help it be a more focused process. And thirdly, as I've mentioned before, we need to make it a win-win. Motivational maps make it win-win by making it a win for both parties, so that the individual uses the motivational map to find out what they really want from work, and then set some objectives around that. And then the business also gets a win by knowing what motivates the person and using that with regards to how they set the objectives. And then you come away from a process that both parties have gained something, and it's not seen as something that has been a bit awkward. So how would it work? So here's the 4-step process. Very simple. I like to keep things simple. Firstly, the individual appraisee completes a motivational map. Next thing, there is a pros discussion, and during that discussion there are 3 things which I'll sum up at the end that you need to make sure that, but essentially the appraisal discussion happens. Next thing is that we set some objectives and make them personal and business orientated, so keeping with that win-win scenario. And then after that we check and review how things are going. Whatever, I suggest you do this 6 monthly. And then the next thing that happens is you start the process again, complete another map. The reason why we need to complete another map is that motivations change, and so we need to keep up to date with what's driving that person and make sure that we're still talking things that are relative to them. And also we can see how the objectives are maybe affecting in a positive or negative way the motivations of the individual. So that's how the process would work with regards to the motivational map. And so essentially there's 3 things that we need to, the objectives that we need to get out of an appraisal. So firstly, we need to review past performance. So this is what we need to think about when we are having that discussion. Review what's happened. Next, we need to motivate the employee. That's the present moment, to make sure that we're getting the best from the individual, understanding what they want. And then the final thing, not surprisingly, is the future and setting some targets for the future. So that's quite a quick run through, just a 10-minute run through about how motivational maps can help in the appraisal process. Hope that's been useful. It's if you have not If you're not aware about the output from a motivational map, you'll see there's other videos about that, and you'll find also on my website, which is the reluctantleader.academy, where you'll see me talking you through the 15-page report which you get. And if you have any questions about how this might work and how you could introduce motivational maps into your appraisal process, don't hesitate to get in touch, and I will talk you through how that might work. There's essentially two ways you can do that. You can have me come in and help you with the process, almost holding your hand, or I can train somebody in your organization to be a motivational maps practitioner who then uses motivational maps and supports the manager with the appraisal process. So that's how that could work. So thank you for tuning in, those that tuned in live. If you catch this on replay on any of the platforms, then feel free to leave a comment. Happy to answer any questions around motivational maps, appraisals, and all that sort of stuff. If you want some more information around how motivation could work in your business, then look out for my book, Motivated. Again, available on my website and also available from Amazon, where I step you through 7-step process, which starts with the mirror, understanding yourself as a business owner, understanding what motivates you, and also then stepping you through the 7 steps, which all are very much in line with keeping motivation as a central core to your process and making it a key focus. So that's available, and you can get that wherever you feel that you want to get it from Amazon or from my website. So that's me. Thank you for tuning into this edition of Motivational Maps Live, and I will see you on the next episode very soon.